Hi everyone, I'm Lisa.
And I'm Nick.
And you're listening to It Takes Two, the podcast where two people take two movies with the same plot or premise and watch and discuss them.
We're doing another fun episode.
Ooh.
Woo! It is 1990's Misery and 2024's Tusk.
2014.
2014, what did I say? 2024.
Yep. Yep.
Yep.
I don't know where to start with these. Well,
we could start with where these came from.
Okay. Well, Misery is a book by Stephen King.
And he got the inspiration, if I remember correctly, from an interaction he had with a fan.
Hey, he's also said that Annie Wilkes represents his struggles with addiction as well.
Right.
Which is, giving her a more metaphorical kind of meaning, but she also has elements of fans that he has interacted with over the years.
Yeah, because it would be very hard. We deal with it on a daily basis. We can't go out into the street without being mobbed by oh my god, it takes two. Where's Strider? It's hell being a celebrity. No, I'm kidding. We've never been recognised. No one cares. If you want to change that, here's our address. No. Tusk obviously came because Kevin Smith, one of my favourite directors, because he just writes and directs whatever the hell he wants to, and it's usually with his mates, which is fun because not everybody gets that opportunity. I think Adam Sandler is probably the other person who could just make a movie happen because he wants to hang out with his friends.
Yeah.
And it came from the podcast where him and Scott Moser do. And it's very fun where people can get inspiration from different places to write pieces of art, and neither of these movies are Misery is probably the most famous out of the two.
Oh, easily.
Yeah. It's a very well-made movie. It's very well received. It's very enjoyable to watch. Most people, even if they haven't seen it, know the story through pop culture reference and the zeitgeist of just general media.
Yeah. I hadn't seen it before this.
You hadn't seen it?
No.
Oh, okay.
And I've never read the book.
Fair enough. I went through a huge Stephen King phase.
Yeah, I was going to say,
point.
Have you read the book?
No.
Oh, okay.
I think I've mentioned this before, but if you're new to the podcast, I have a real issue with Stephen King's writing.
Mm-hmm.
The premise is usually really good, and the lead up to the climax of the story is always really good, and then he just fails at the climax.
Yeah, they did change the ending for this.
Yeah.
And they changed a couple... There's one very key thing they changed that I want to talk about later, but we'll wait till we're kind of...
Oh my god, I know what we have to watch at some point.
Wow.
Maximum Overdrive.
Okay.
Because it's the one... So Stephen King... famously hates the movie adaptations of his books.
Well, this is, if you want some trivia about this one already, the reason Rob Reiner directs Misery, despite it being very different from anything else Rob Reiner has directed, is that the only adaptation of any of his works that Stephen King liked was Stand By Me,
right, which
Rob Reiner directed. So he would only sell the studio the rights to Misery if they'd get Rob Reiner to do it. And Rob Reiner was like, all right, it's not my normal cup of tea, but let's give it a go.
Yeah, so Maximum Overdrive is the one that he wrote and directed himself, and it is bananas.
Right.
Yeah, so we should totally watch that at some point if we can find it.
Fair enough.
Have I shown you Tusk before?
Yes, I've seen Tusk before.
Was it because of me?
Yes, I think we watched it, literally the week we moved in together. You showed me Tusk, and I showed you The Greasy Strangler.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh yeah, this relationship makes sense.
Yeah.
So I have been kind of dreading rewatching Tusk. Also, I like Tusk, but also there's some very difficult to watch parts of it.
From a body horror perspective, or
yeah.
just an awkwardness?
No, from a body horror perspective, yeah. I think primarily. Because you don't feel bad for the character necessarily because he's a
That's
bad character.
the thing. Like, you're watching it, right? So you watch a movie to watch a movie, right? You're sort of like on the road for the ride. You're a passenger, you're not related. But like when you start like digging into stuff, Justin Long's character is a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And he deserves it.
100%. But there's something about what gets me is the permanence. That like, and also the timing of it. So in both of these movies, there is someone, you know, from their I was gonna say from their past, but from their like life. So that basically in both these movies you have a creative or a writer, and one he's a novelist, and the other he's a podcaster.
From a comedian.
What?
Because the whole plot.
Oh yeah, he was like a stand-up comedian and then became a podcaster. And they have traveled somewhere for their work.
Yeah.
And then while there, end up in this situation with this person who kind of, you know, starts off seeming like they're nice and they are helping them, and then it turns south very quickly.
Yeah.
And in both cases, there's someone from their life who is aware they're missing, kind of reaching out, and then there's like a law enforcement of sorts that goes looking for them. Where was I going with this? I've already forgotten. Oh yeah, in Tusk, what gets me about it, which like the scary part of Tusk for me, is that by the time that his girlfriend and best friend get to Canada to look for him and are talking to the police, he has already been irreversibly changed
into a walrus.
Yes, okay, spoiler alert, into a walrus. No, but like, you know, even from the first time that one leg is cut off, you're like, that is permanent. There's no way to come back from that, and there's no way to save him or fix him once he reaches the point where the guy has like fully done these body modifications on him. And what gets me is that by the time they go looking for him, that has already happened.
Yeah.
There was never a chance. Yeah. You know, that's the scary part of it for me. Whereas in Misery, it's very much like near misses.
Yeah.
You know, that there's a few moments where you're like, oh, he could get out of here, or he could make contact, or, you know, and it's just always like just by a hair's breadth missing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can talk about the thing, because we've already now mentioned that Wallace in Tusk gets turned into a walrus. And it does start with chopping off one of his legs. In Misery, spoiler alert for Misery, but I think this is the part that everyone knows about.
Yeah.
A very famous scene in Misery, the movie, is where Annie Wilkes puts the block of wood between... I've forgotten the character's name. I should know it. Between the author's ankles. Paul, yeah. Paul Spencer, right?
Sheldon.
Paul Sheldon? Why did I think Paul Spencer? Paul Sheldon. Anyway, and she uses a sledgehammer to break his ankles.
Yeah, hobble him.
In the book, that's not what she does.
Go on.
In the book, she uses an axe and she chops off his feet.
Yep.
And then, uses fire to cauterize the wounds. So I thought it was interesting that, in the book version of Misery, he does lose his feet. And in Tusk, obviously, he loses both his legs in the end. Or it's kind of unclear whether he actually loses a second leg, or it's just, sewn into this
Who knows?
walrus.
I'm assuming he does, because otherwise how does he get both tusks?
True, yes, because the tusks are made of his fibia.
Yeah.
Horrifying.
Don't meet strangers or fans.
Alone, without telling anyone where you're going first.
Yeah, it's very funny to me. The motivations of both these characters are very different, even though the outcome is basically the same.
Yeah.
Paul is a famous author. He has secluded himself in a cabin to finish the last book of the series. He's been writing the same series constantly. The fans love it. The publisher likes the fact that he's making money.
So he's not writing the last book of the series. The last book of the series has just been published.
No, as in
He's writing the first book that's not part of the series.
Oh, I thought he was writing the last book.
No.
Oh, okay.
So he's writing, for the first time, he's written something that's not a part of this series. And that's why he's like, oh, I'm not sure what it's, as I've spent so long writing this one character, I don't know how this is going to go down. But at the same time, the most recent book has just been published.
Right.
So because it's just gone through the editing process while he's out there. So literally, his accident happens, and then right after his accident happens, Annie Wilkes goes and buys the new book. She's like, look, they had a copy of it. I can't wait to read it. And so that's why she discovers, like, the character has already been killed off in the series.
Because I thought he was writing the end of the series.
No, so he has already written the end of the series, and he was writing his first segue into something new in decades or whatever.
I've lost my train of thought.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
He's secluded. He's secluded in a cabin.
Yes. So he's going to the cabin, finishes the new book, tries to drive back in a blizzard, flips his car, ends up on the side of the road, and is saved by Kathy Bates' character. And what you find out later is, like, she was stalking him the entire time anyway. So, like, it kind of reminded me of 10 Cloverfield Lane as well. I don't know if there was, like, inspiration taken there about, like, the fact that it was, I was just there at the right time, the right place, but it was all a setup. Spoilers for a movie that's not included in this. But I haven't actually spoiled the spoiler of the spoiler movie. Where Justin Long's character is in Canada to interview a guy who cut his own leg off using a katana in his garage. And
ironic that that was the thing that, like, when I watched Tusk the first time, obviously that didn't register with me because I didn't know where Tusk was going. But rewatching it, the fact that he's going there to interview someone who cut off a limb, and that he makes a joke on his podcast about, do I need both legs? Hell no. And it's like, I know what's going to happen to you now.
We looked at each other during that moment, and you were like wide-eyed, and I was like, yep.
I was like, how did I not catch that the first time I watched it?
And he's committed suicide, probably because of how famous this viral video of him mutilating himself has become. And then when he's going to leave Canada, he ends up reading a note in a bathroom that leads them to Howard Howe, who's played by Michael Parks, does a fantastic job of just being a complete lunatic. Because he starts off very, very straight. It's very, very like, I've had this massive epic adventure of a life. Like, please come into my lovely home and we'll have a conversation, all very civilly. Obviously not, because he's just like this completely insane person who wants to turn people into walruses. And this is not the first time he's done it.
No. No. Far from it, actually.
Yeah. The inclusion of, like, how intimate the movies get, because they are very intimate. You are either sort of following the people looking for the lost person, or just from the perspective of the lost person being tortured
in one location.
Very, very enjoyable cinematography from Misery. I think there's a few scenes in it that really stand out. Obviously, there's the fact that it's carried over so long into general mainstream of, like, if you did this in a movie, it'd be like, oh, well, that's clearly an homage to Misery. Yeah,
I was honestly surprised. I checked the, like, connections page for Tusk, and it does not mention Misery on it. I was like, oh.
Well, it can now, because we've reviewed it on the podcast.
No, but I was wondering, like, was it deliberately referencing Misery? And apparently not.
Yeah.
Or not that they've said.
It's obviously there's a lot more body horror in Tusk. There's one, like, sequence in Misery that everyone remembers.
When Which is pretty horrific. By
Yeah,
the way.
yeah. Like, if you were in the 1990s and you saw that, you'd be like, oh my god, like, that's... Because it's not off camera either.
No.
That's the sort of, like, the disturbing part about it.
Yeah, they gave him, like, fake legs made of some kind of jelly substance, so that when they hit it, it, like, literally bent at such a horrible angle.
Because I think in Tusk, the first amputation's not shown on screen, and it's only sort of later where he's, like, gone full walrus that it's sort of, like, shown. What's really disturbing is, like, how rudimentary the suit, like, his skin suit is.
Yeah.
Which I think is the most disturbing part about it, because it is literally, like, really over-the-top, like, sutures, like, cartoonish almost.
Yeah.
Like
but also you can, like, see
skin.
people's faces
on
the skin. So, like, not even just the people he's turning into a walrus or the people being killed. There's, like, multiple people being killed to get their skin to create the walruses.
Yeah. What a weird movie.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Where do you want to go? What do you want to talk about?
I think... Because this is where I most thought that Tusk was similar to Misery. Was actually... in the kind of manipulation of the person keeping them captive.
Yeah.
Where, like, in the beginning, you know, so for Paul in Misery, he wakes up in Annie Wilkes' house after an accident.
Yeah.
So he's already injured at that point, and she's like, I'm a nurse, and she's giving him medicine for his pain. And he's a little bit suspicious of it, but then he's also grateful.
Yeah.
And whereas in Tusk, it's, you know, he passes out, and while he's passing out, he thinks about, oh, he's put something in the drink. But then the guy's like, oh no, you got bitten by a spider, and then the doctor had to come and take your leg off. And you're like, ugh. And there's a moment where you're like, is that what happened?
Yeah.
You know? But then it goes to, like, you know, first of all, because the other thing is that, so in Misery, it's heavily implied that she caused the accident because it was written in one of his books.
Yeah.
Which she knows inside and out. So his accident happened in the same way it happened to one of his books, which heavily implies that she staged it knowing he was going to take that route because she'd been following him.
Yeah.
So she's injured him, and obviously in Tusk, the guy is, you know, Howard Howe has injured Wally. And then it's the, you know, why, but in Tusk, because it's a kind of a dark comedy, it goes into ridiculous lengths, but it's the, you know, why am I in a hospital? Is the question both of them ask. Is why you know, why am I here? Why am I in a hospital? And you know, in Misery, she's like, oh, the roads are closed because of the blizzard. I'll try and get an ambulance out here as soon as we can and get you moved to a hospital. I didn't want to risk taking. And you're like, okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
In Tusk, he's like, oh, the doctor was here and he said you have to be secluded and there's hospitals are full of infection and you'll be fine here. And it's like, okay, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
He's not even in a bed, he's in a chair. And then it's the, you know, can I make a phone call or can I contact this person or that person? And in Misery, she's like, well, the phone lines went down in the blizzard.
Yeah.
Whereas in Tuskie's like, oh, the doctor took all the phones with him. Oh, he accidentally stepped on your phone. And then he took all the phones out of the house. And it's like, okay. But it's very much this, obviously it's played for comedic effect in Tusk, but it's very much this, like, slow manipulation of, like, you know, here are all the things that are going to isolate you. And in both, I think more so in Tusk, he gets very suspicious very quickly. But Paul in Misery is also suspicious as things are going. And notices, like, when she comes back with things and he's like, well, so the road is open.
Yeah.
You know, she's like, oh, only as far as the town. And yeah, I made a call from there, but my phone line's still down.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of stuff. But it's very much, you know, the dawning realization that this person has all the cards, you know?
Yeah.
That they control whether you can contact anyone. They control whether you can leave. They control what's going into your body and what's happening to your body, you know? And you don't have any control to stop that. And obviously they try to take things into their own hands in different ways. But yeah, I think it's interesting how similar they are just in that aspect.
It's very funny because the point that I want to make up is, like, Annie Wilkes' character, absolutely fantastic performance.
Oh, yeah.
She clearly has a very toxic relationship with the author before. Like, it's not his fault.
Yeah.
And, the scenes where she flies off into a rage and then comes back very, very nice. And there is moments where she can actually show sweetness. It's very selfish. It's from a very selfish point of view.
Oh, 100%.
I feel like Michael Parks' portrayal is just unhinged from start to finish.
Yeah.
And it is so fantastic. Because, like, even the explanation of, like, why his leg got cut off.
Yeah.
And he's just, like, making up bullshit names. And then you get the scene, so... the part that, like, cracks me up is when they meet up with Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp's character, who's a Quebecian... is that the correct term?
I guess so.
Quebecian, like, inspector who's, like, sort of, like, gone off the deep end from their point of view because he's now, like, just wandering around trying to find the serial killer, but they don't believe that the serial killer exists.
Yeah.
And he ends up, meeting up with Michael Parks' character. And he's just like, it's the most unhinged performance between the two of them. It's so fantastic.
I have trivia about that.
Go on
have you
then.
already got that?
No, go on then.
So, Michael Parks was supposed to have a French-Canadian accent.
Right.
When he does the fake voice. Because he obviously puts on a fake voice to talk to Guy Lepont. But, yeah, so apparently he was supposed... The script called for him to put on a French-Canadian accent.
But he couldn't do it?
No, he said that he'd already used a French-Canadian accent in Twin Peaks.
Right.
And he was like, I don't really want to do that again. So he said, can I just, like... do a voice? And they were like, and Kevin Smith went, yeah, no problem. And Kevin Smith is quoted as saying, it was like watching two wizards do battle and you can't figure out who the bad guy is. And apparently Michael Parks was so excited to just, like, get to chew the scenery with another, like, major movie star who was also just chewing the scenery, that the two of them were just, like, doing the most ridiculous characters. And playing off each other in that scene is so bizarre. But yeah, he was supposed to just, like, use, like, a French-Canadian accent to disguise himself, and instead he does, like, the most strange voice. Yeah,
just completely unhinged, talking about the fact that he's a coach assistant for, like, teeny tiny something ice hockey rink, like kids ice hockey. But he's, like, the assistant coach. And it's, like, the story, like, the cover story is just so funny. Because, obviously, it's Johnny Depp playing a Johnny Depp character. So it's just, like, nothing I do matters to the reality of the world. And, yeah, just the back and forth between them is very much like I declare a wizard war.
Yeah.
It's such a funny scene. And the fact that he's, like, explaining it inside, like, a fast food restaurant that they don't have in Quebec. And the fact that it's just, like, he's just, like, eating fast food that they've paid for him. Which then comes back at the end of the movie. You remember that the last scene of the movie is just him, like, outside freaking out about the fact that he shouldn't have eaten a second burger.
Yeah.
Because of what they've just seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the endings are obviously very, very different.
Yeah. But again, the ending in Misery, the film, is very different from the ending in Misery, the book.
So you wanna give spoilers for the ending of the Misery, the book?
I mean, I don't think it's hugely different. Obviously, he has no feet.
Yeah.
It's a starter. But he also doesn't burn the book. He can't bring himself to burn it. Or I think he burns, but I think he had 2 copies of it because but from Stephen King's perspective, that was representing him not being able to actually get over his addictions.
Right.
And also, Rob Reiner thought it was very much representative of Stephen King's insecurities that, like, if he doesn't keep producing the books that people expect him to write, then what is he? So Rob Reiner was like, no, he's going to burn that book.
Yeah.
And he's going to write the book that he wanted to write. That's nothing to do with, the Misery series, and he's going to change his life the way he wanted to change his life. And it's like, oh yeah. So it's a much more hopeful ending. Whereas in Tusk he's a walrus. And in the most bizarre turn of events, so they find him and he's been like
Walrusified.
He's cut out his tongue, he's cut off his legs, he's shaved his like tibia bones into tusks.
Yeah.
He's made him into this walrus made out of other humans' skin and like sewn his arms together to do this. And then made him fight him to the death.
So that's I think one of the most interesting comparisons between these two books, because I just want to
because they do fight to the death.
Yeah,
in
both of them they fight to the death. Because there's like, as I said earlier, there are very wholesome moments in both of these stories, which is really screwed up when you turn a man into a walrus. That you're just like hanging out with him afterwards because of like. Who knows if the story of Mr. Tusk, the like walrus who saved his life when he was in the merchant navy or whatever, or the actual navy, during World War II, or like was afterwards? No, because it was afterwards because he was talking about meeting Hemingway. Yeah, like
no, it was. He met Hemingway before D-Day.
He met. Yeah. But I'm saying like he got stranded on the ice
after that.
After that. It's very weird because you do have those almost sweet moments of them just like hanging out,
swimming together,
like, and you know, there's some moments with Annie and Paul having like dinner together and stuff and talking and being like actual adults in not a situation where. Like, obviously, he's scheming the entire time.
Yeah, I would say he does a great job of, like, actually, like, charming her and pretending he's, he playing along to save himself. He's got good survival instincts, which Paul does, or which Wally does not have in Tusk.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the bizarre ending of Tusk is that after they find him like this, they put him in a zoo, and he lives in a zoo as a walrus. That's not how it works. If someone was like mutilated and made to look like a walrus, they wouldn't be like, I guess that counts as a walrus. I'll put him in the zoo.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense. And then it's like, so it basically ends with like his girlfriend and best friend showing up with like a piece of fish wrapped in a piece of newspaper that they throw to him as a walrus in the zoo.
Yeah, because the quote here is just like, Ellie, his girlfriend, who's sleeping with Teddy whenever Wallace goes away, and that's the real relationship, which is really screwed up.
Yeah. I don't understand why she didn't just leave him. There's nothing is stopping her from leaving him.
Yeah. I don't know.
He's a terrible person, and it's and they talk about how he wasn't like that when they met, and how she's actually in love with his best friend, and his best friend treats her the way she wants to be treated.
Maybe it's protecting. It's like this is toxic. Don't get me wrong. Maybe she's protecting Teddy because she knows if she left Wallace and ended up with Teddy, the podcast would be over. And maybe as much as their podcast like is two friends together, where otherwise you get like a cult of personality. Won't mention other podcasts, but like they've replaced people in the background and no one's noticed. Well, they've sort of noticed, but like the people have moved on with their lives, but not moved on to better things. Maybe that's the reason why.
Right, because the whole premise of the podcast is basically that Teddy is reclusive and stays.
Yeah, he doesn't like flying.
Yeah, and Wally goes out and whatever. And I guess the growth for Teddy is that because of the situation, he does fly and he leaves the country. And then him and Allie can actually end up together. But it's
So the final sequence in Tusk is so funny to me because they turn up at this wildlife rescue, and she's telling Walrus Justin Long that the difference between humans and animals is humans can cry. And then she throws in the mackerel.
And then he cries.
And then he eats it and cries and they like leave. And he's just like a walrus man.
He's just a walrus man.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right. Like the ending of Misery is so much more
optimistic.
Even though like the sheriff of the small town gets like his chest burst out.
That's so sad because he's actually like a really good sheriff.
The relationship in that town of like all the other characters is so wholesome. It does remind me of like the show that I want you to watch, but you won't because it's 110 episodes.
Northern Exposure.
Yeah, because it's also it's actually set in Alaska, but
it's the same plot as Doc Hollywood.
Yeah, pretty much.
We talked about it on our Doc Hollywood episode.
You have the sequences of like the deputy and the sheriff, but they're like a husband and wife.
It was so cute.
And it's just like she's grabbing his leg while they're driving, and he's just like, "Not in this car. Like you're not my wife when we're in this car."
Yeah, we were deputy in the car.
Yeah.
And she's like, "I want to go home and cuddle the sheriff."
Yeah, the fact that his like whole fucking chest gets blown out by a shotgun blast is so...
It's very sad. Because I liked him. Also, he, I think, is an amalgamation of several characters in the book.
Right.
So he doesn't exist in the book, but there's like multiple different law people, one of which she does kill. I can't remember what way she kills them. She kills them in a different way.
Yeah.
And the only reason I know it was a different way is because Kathy Bates was sad she didn't get to do that murder on screen. But also, in both cases, the murderer, who seemingly is like, when you meet them first, is like he seems like an innocent person and a nice person and just someone with stories to share, whatever, who likes talking to this person, and then you discover that they're doing this thing. In both cases, it also gets revealed that they are a serial killer.
Yeah.
That she has killed a whole load of people in her care, including children. She was on trial for killing a bunch of children when she worked when she was like an ICU, head of an ICU. Whereas in Tusk, obviously, the whole time he's been trying to recreate this walrus that saved his life, that he then killed and ate. And he wants to give the walrus a second chance to survive. Tusk is such a weird movie.
It's great.
It's definitely it definitely is a movie that is similar to Misery, though. Yeah. Like, I think this was the right pairing for this episode. And also, I'm glad that I finally watched Misery. It's a good movie.
Yeah. Do you know Tusk is a part of a series?
I did know Tusk. We've seen the second one.
Yeah, Yoga
Hosers. And the third one came out last year, I think.
No, it's in development.
Oh. It said 2025 when I looked at it. Unless it was supposed to come out last year and got delayed.
Maybe. Where does it say? You know, it hasn't been released yet.
Oh, okay. It was supposed to come out in 2025.
Yeah.
So it's obviously been...
Delayed. What a weird concept of a movie.
Moose Jaws?
Moose Jaws. It's Jaws, but with a moose.
I mean, that's a great one for us to do with a podcast.
Yeah.
Jaws, but with a moose.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks, Kevin.
I have your signature somewhere.
This isn't even the first Kevin Smith film we've done on here, right?
Yeah, what was the other one we did?
Chasing Amy?
Yeah.
That was him, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's really enjoyable Misery, that is.
Yeah. I mean, I like Tusk as a movie, but it is... You do need to be able to stomach body horror to watch it. And it is like... It's a horror comedy, so it's very over the top.
Yeah.
And ridiculous. And Justin Long is so unlikable in it. Which I am only mentioning again because Justin Long normally plays very likable characters in most things. I feel like I haven't seen him in much where he's like nasty, and in this he's like just nasty.
Justin Long has an interesting career because he really got shoehorned into a certain role type.
Yeah.
Because he's been in a lot of horror movies.
Oh, true. He's also been in a lot of rom-coms.
Yeah.
The dichotomy of man.
Yeah.
That because he was in a few. He has been in quite a few horror movies.
It's very funny to me when he cameos in other people's movies, like, because they are the most unhinged characters.
Right.
We've both seen Zack and Miri Make a Porno, right?
Yeah, I saw it a long time ago.
Yeah, when the character he plays in that is just like hilarious because he's like a gay porn star who's married to the ex-jock of the school. It's such like, and he just plays it so straight, as in like, not as in, because, you know, it's a gay porn star. I'm saying he's playing it as like, this is who I truly am.
Yeah, he's also one of the Beatles in Walk Hard, which is the only good scene in that movie. Actually, I don't know if I've watched the whole movie, because I'd seen that scene and liked it, and then my dad recommended the movie to me, and then it turned out the reason he recommended the movie was because the main character has no sense of smell. And I was like, that doesn't make me want to watch it. But the Beatles scene is very good, and Justin Long plays one of the Beatles. I don't remember which one, but he's definitely in that. I can find
it in a second.
Are you looking at him?
The first movie he was in was Galaxy Quest, which is one of the movies we did on the podcast.
Yeah, in our first year of podcasting. Yeah. That was our only live show.
So far. I can't see... Oh, George Harris. Walk Hard.
George Harrison.
Yeah, George Harrison, yeah. It's uncredited.
Yeah. That's a fun scene, though.
Yeah.
That's another cameo.
Yeah. There's... it's very fun to have, like, such a weird career. Because he really does.
Yeah.
Like, this is not, like... It's... who was the other person? It was a guy who was in... It was complaining... It was that thing that came up recently about movie actors now moving into television. And because of it, his career's gone down the toilet because there's, like, less roles for people like him. He was in Fringe. He plays, like, the other detective, the one that gets worms in him.
Oh.
I'll find it. I can't remember his name. But yeah, talking about the fact that, like, because of this... Because it used to be, back in the day, it used to be the opposite way.
Yeah, like, you'd have TV actors moving into film.
Yeah, it was TV actors moving into film, and, like, if you're a movie actor who went into TV, that was pretty much the end of your career.
Yeah.
Where these days it's the opposite because everybody wants that consistent, huge paycheck.
Yeah.
Because it's just more convenient. You set better times. I'm just still trying to find the guy because I'm just going through. No, that's Lance, who's also dead, which is sad. It's not Justin Scott. Where is he? That's the one. Kirk Asvendo?
Right, yeah. That's what I think you're talking about. Charlie.
Charlie.
Charlie in French, yeah. I like Charlie. Acevedo, is that his name?
Acevedo? Yeah.
Kirk Acevedo?
Yeah.
I think that's it. I don't know.
It's just very sad that, like, now he's struggling to find work because so many people are moving from film into television, even though we're, like... On the grand scale of things, there is way more production going on than there's literally, like, ever been. Every major production company has their own streaming service where they have, like, exclusives these days. Like, there is so much work.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And what's interesting to me, because as of recording of this, Obsession, I don't know if I brought this up. Was I talking about this last time?
I don't remember.
Yeah, Obsession is going to be the highest grossing movie of the last 10 years that isn't a sequel or a spin-off or part of a franchise.
That's crazy.
And it's only made $500 million, or less than 500.
To see it.
Yeah. I want to see Backrooms as well, but it just hasn't been on at times, which have been, we'd have to go to work after, a certain day a week. Because it's either been like 6:30 or like 8 o'clock at night. There's never been like really on like our schedule kind of thing.
Yeah.
There's so much production going on, like, and it's a concern because according to some statistics I saw the other day, piracy's back on the rise.
Yep.
Which means that there's going to the production bubble is going to shrink again.
Yeah.
Because no one's making money out of stuff, but that's because like everybody's taking a chunk out of you.
Yeah, because it used to be, because like when Netflix became a thing originally, it was like, here's where you can go get all your stuff. So then people stopped pirating and started like
subscribing to stuff,
getting Netflix subscriptions. But now every studio, every station has its own separate. There's like an Amazon Prime, there's Netflix, there's Hulu Plus, Peacock, whatever else. There's like
Apple TV, Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Apple
There's loads in the States that are even more.
Apple TV are knocking out of the park at the moment.
Yeah. But you have to pay for like all of these different subscriptions to get them all. So
it would be devastating to most people's like financial spending money, and
especially in an era where all of these different platforms are trying to prevent you from sharing.
Yeah.
Because, like, I feel like this is the ideal time to do, like, what we did with video game consoles in the 90s, where, like, we had a Super Nintendo, the kids down the road had a Nintendo and the kids around the corner had a Sega Genesis.
Yeah.
So you'd go to a different person's house
Yeah.
to use their Sega Genesis and play
Yeah.
Sonic, you know? And it would be very much like that, like, you know, we would get a subscription to Netflix, for example, and our friends would get a subscription to Disney and someone else get a subscription to Apple, and we'd all kind of trade.
Yeah.
That would make more sense to me. But they all want you to not be able to do that.
Yeah. Even when your family were paying for, like, the one where you could trade passwords for Netflix, and it was still, like, geo-locking you out of, like, multiple locations which were your own home.
Yeah.
Because, obviously, the greed, like, the fact that Netflix lost a court case in Italy cracks me up. And now they owe... Obviously, they're appealing it, but they owe... the judge said they owed every subscriber to Netflix for the last whatever years who's been continually subscribed, like €300 each. Because in Italy, you have, in the Consumer Guarantees Act, which we have in New Zealand, they have a transparency clause which states if a company cannot increase the prices of a product without explaining why.
Yep.
Netflix lost in court, meaning that everybody else in the world
is paying higher prices.
For literally no reason.
Yeah.
And like if we hadn't have like left we were using your parents' one, but like it's not one of the things I would go out and get because of the way that the CEO is doing stuff, which is making writers not be able to write stuff anymore, aiming towards like the lowest common denominator of the cheapest things to produce, which is all the weird reality TV garbo.
Yeah.
And making seasons end after the subscription ends, which is what happened with Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Which they made it so it happened after everybody else, so you couldn't cancel it after you'd watched Stranger Things. You had to wait and renew it for another 12 months to get to see the ending. And the ending was bullshit.
The ending was like fine.
Yeah.
But it wasn't great.
It felt hurried, is what I mean. Like that ending episode could have been like a full-length movie. Not like, what was it, like 90 minutes?
90 minutes is a full-length movie.
Maybe in the 80s. Now we're talking like Avatar, like 3 hour.
Oh.
You love it.
No.
You've gone to the movies to see Avatar every single time with me. You love Avatar.
Just because I love you, not because I love Avatar. Anyway,
do you want to move on to some trivia?
Tusk and Misery.
Yeah.
Sure. I feel like I've already talked about a lot of it. For Tusk, apparently most of the budget was used to obtain the rights to the song Tusk by Fleetwood Mac.
Wow. It's $3 million, by the way.
Yeah. And it also, the only other thing I haven't heard that we haven't talked about was actually, I mean, we talked about the fact that, or maybe we didn't really talk about that the concept, or you did, that the idea for the podcast, for the movie came up on a podcast.
Yeah.
And they kind of spitballed about it and then got people to like,
use
hashtag Walrus yes or Walrus no, depending on whether they went to the theatre or not. But also another inspiration for it, other than the ones we already mentioned, was an ad that had been taken out by a guy who owned a large house, who genuinely offered a room rent-free to the person who would be willing to wear realistic walrus costumes 2 hours a day. So that was what they read on the podcast. So I think it then came out that the ad had been taken out by one of their fans, so they could send it in to them.
Yeah.
So that fan must love it that it ended up getting made into a movie. But that was where it started, was with this like classifieds ad. And then they spitballed into, they talked about what the movie would be like. Kevin Smith has later said that movies like Tusk are what happens when you smoke a lot of weed.
Yeah.
For Misery, apparently in the original idea for the novel, the original concept, Annie was going to kill Paul by feeding him to the pig.
Right.
And then take his skin to bind the book he had written.
Yeah.
Which I liked reading because I was like, oh, that's very Tusk wife.
Yeah.
And also, according to Rob Reiner, Annie Wilkes, her killing spree in the movie is loosely based on a real nurse who is believed to have killed as many as 60 children who were in her care over a 2-year period. Yeah, so that's very sad. James Caan and Kathy Bates apparently really clashed on set, though they have both said afterwards that it was a really great experience working together.
Right.
But it was because Kathy Bates had a strong theatre background, so she wanted to do a lot of rehearsals and practicing, whereas James Caan wanted to do as little rehearsal as possible because he wanted it to be like fresh on the day. Yeah. And apparently Kathy Bates talked to Rob Reiner about it and said that, James Caan's not even trying to relate to me or listen to what I have to say. And Rob Reiner said, use that frustration to fuel your character. So there's a little bit of real Kathy Bates frustration in Annie Wilkes. And I think that's it, because I think I've already talked about all the other things I had written down here. So that's pretty much it. Cool. In terms of budget and box office, I didn't take it down, but I had a look. Tusk was a flop, but that's because they don't really care about making money, I think, anyway. Yeah. Whereas Misery made about 3 times what it cost.
Nice.
So it cost about 20 million and made about 60 million. I would have expected it to have made more than that, just because it's so much in the zeitgeist. Like, it's such a very famous classic movie that I'm surprised it didn't make more, but at least it was a success. I didn't take down any notes around it, but apparently, like, the kind of running joke is that every actor in Hollywood was considered for the role of Paul Sheldon before it finally went to James Caan.
Right.
There's like loads of different actors who were offered it or asked to come in, who all turned it down. Largely because it sounds like a lot of them turned it down because they thought the character was going to be very easily overshadowed by Annie Wilkes.
Yeah.
And they didn't want to play basically secondary to her. But Rob Reiner didn't really want to cast James Caan, but he said then afterwards, he was like, you can't picture it any other way. James Caan did such a good job with the role, like, that is who that character is. Which I would agree, I think he did great.
Yeah.
There was like one line near the beginning of the movie where he delivered it very similarly to how he delivers lines in Elf, and my brain was like, it's Buddy's dad. But that's just the main thing I know James Caan from, even though he's more famous for like mobster films. For me, my reference point is Elf. And now Misery.
Yeah.
I think he did great. I think Kathy Bates did great. And it's very much, like, it is very theatrical. That it's like a one set, primarily a one set film with just these 2 actors playing off each other, and they both do a great job. Do you have anything you want to add?
No, I was just going to say, if you think we've done a great job, share this episode with a friend. Oh, yeah. Go to our website, ittakes2.co.nz. You can find the Where to Start page there. Join our social media, etc., etc.
Great. Thank you for listening, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.